Hey folks, welcome back to another Poemaster video. So tonight, the rather controversial, I guess, and it's not controversial because of like Gloria herself, it's just because of the event and stuff. But Gloria and Zacian are dropping later tonight. As usual, I will be summoning on it, so stay tuned for that live stream. Should be fun, hopefully. It is a Pokefair, so there's that. Anyways, let's get into the unit details and all that stuff first. So this sync pair is criminally underrated. Because a lot of people, I see a lot of people thinking it's like not great at all, which is completely untrue. And let's go over it. So first of all, if you check the the unit's specifics, just looking at the stats, these are really good stats, right? 561 HP, 390 attack, 162 on both defenses, and then 394 on speed, especially the speed. This speed is incredible for a unit that has a 4-gauge move, right? So that's fantastic. So overall, there really isn't a bad stat at all. Yeah, there really isn't a bad stat. Like all these stats are very good stats, right? So moving on to its moveset. So first of all, it has Behemoth Blade, 4-gauge move, 172 base power, and the move power increases if the target has a sync buff. And now that is confirmed that it is going to be a 1.5 times sync buff. So with that, let's see, it's gonna be 258 base power move. If the opponent again does have a sync move buff. How much was Hyper Beam again? Let me check real quick. Hyper Beam is at 267, so that's really close to how much Hyper Beam could potentially do, right? So that's fantastic, right? So on top of that, you have move gauge boost. You got Play Rough, which very small chance of learning the target's attacks. Good decent amount of damage as well, all that stuff. And it's fairy type, so it does have both dual steel and fairy type coverage. So there's that as well, right? And then on top of that, your sync move, Glorious Behemoth Blade. The move's power doubles, right? If the opponent has sync buff. So it's basically a built-in, haymaker or inertia, whatever, in terms of multipliers, right? So if the opponent has sync buff, this thing just does double. Straight up double damage, right? So as for the passives, has Fierce Entry 2, which does mirror Zacian's regular ability in the main series, right? Move Gauge Refresh 4 on top of the 394 speed and the Move Gauge boost, right? So you also have Move Gauge Refresh 4, and then you have Sync Burst 1, which restores 1 MP for the user when a sync move is used for the first time, and that's going to be used on mainly Laser Sharp focus. I guess Move Gauge Boost too, but I highly doubt it. So this one reduces your sync move countdown by 1, sharply raises attack, and then ensures that the next hit will be a crit. So basically, after you sync, you should easily get +6 attack, right? Which is nice. So there's that, and then yeah, it's just an overall great unit, right? As it does massive amounts of damage, right? It has solid, like its defensive stats aren't bad, right, for a striker, and most importantly, has really great move gauge management, right? Almost 400 speed, move gauge boost, and move gauge refresh 4. However, I don't think the move gauge boost is necessary. I think this is just overkill, right? And speaking of overkill, we have even more move gauge regen on the grid, right? So for Behemoth Blade, we have like 2 more move gauge regen 2s. So that's pretty crazy, right? So as for the sync grid, I don't think the sync grid is that great. It might be one of the weaker sync grids in the game, probably even the worst, honestly, right? But like it's just because her base kit is so powerful. It's kind of like a red situation, right? So like, is this that big of a deal that it's not that great? Not really. Again, just because the base kit is so incredibly powerful. So anyways, let's check out the grid then. So again, like I mentioned before, 2 move gauge refreshes for Behemoth Blade, power up for Behemoth Blade. Even though it looks like it's like not that much power ups, like +1, +2. Do keep in mind that's an extra 1.5 times multiplier that you get. So it's not exactly just +1, +2, right? You get even more value out of that, right? So Some more Behemoth Blade power-ups. Move gauge, refresh 9 for move gauge boost. Again, incredibly overkill for your move gauges. Move gauge boost, MP refresh 2. Critical ferocity. Moderate chance of raising uses attack when you land a crit. Not good. Not good, honestly. Yeah, it's not the greatest. Adrenaline 1, reducing move countdown by 1 when the sync move is used for its first time. Again, depends on your team comp, right? This could either be completely useless or decent, right? It is 12 energy, though. Burst in, not that great. Play rough super duper effective is nice, right? Play rough super duper effective, and then has play rough on roll 2. So it actually has some really decent options if you are using her as a fairy type striker as well. Obviously, the big thing is that your sync move's not going to be fairy type, but the play rough is definitely going to do some good damage. So on top of that, you got head start, sync move countdown reduced by 1 when you first enter the battle, headstrong, attack can be lowered. So as you can see, like overall the grid's not that interesting, right? But the very great part about her is you get 2 move gauge refreshes, refresh 2s, you got a move gauge refresh 4 on the passive, and then the insanely fast speed on top of that with a move gauge boost. So what really you could do with Zacian over here is you could run double striker. And if you're running double striker, it could be potentially very, very devastating, right? If you could run her with red, soon as red, that could be a great team, right? Or running her with Volcarona, Alder and Volcarona, that could be great. You run her with Sharpedo, Bird could be another good option. Maybe even Steven, right? And if you do run her with Steven, you both get the steel type skill buff, and then on top of that with the gear, you get almost up to like another 100 attack boost, right? With some more like attack nodes over here or whatever, right? You could basically get up to 500 attack with Zacian, right? And that's obviously fantastic, right? So here's the deal with Zacian. The big thing about this banner is that there are 2 factors that really loom over this banner, that really do cast a shadow over it. Even though it's a Pokefair, right? There are 2 kind of things. The first thing is we also still have like a Steven banner up, even though the Steven banner does have lower rates than the Zacian banner, right? It's 1.5% for Steven and 2% for Zacian, obviously. So that is something that you do have to consider in terms of like these 2 units. And again, I really don't like comparing Zacian to Steven, because these are 2 very, very different units. I personally do like Steven a bit better because Steven has recuperation, which is great, and aggravation on Iron Head. Obviously, Steven's a more defensive tank, or not tank, defensive striker, right? Can generally survive a bit longer. However, Zacian just does so much more damage than Steven. Like, if you compare these 2 units' damage, like, it's not even close, right? Zacian's damage, like, just incredibly just outweighs Steven so much. So, like I mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of comparing Zacian and Metagross, right? I think a much better comparison for Zacian would be something like a Singsu Red or something like a Dragonite, right? Which she really does excel in that, kind of comparison as well, right? Again, if you are comparing these 2 banners, that is something to keep in mind, right? To keep in mind on that other banner, you also have a chance to get Cynthia. So your overall chance for like a featured unit is higher on that banner. But if you're just looking for a steel type, Pokefair, right? Obviously, the Zacian banner has better rates. So the second factor that some people might be thinking about is, oh, what about the prestige event? It's fine if you disagree with me on this one, because this is, again, very controversial, right? Not saying, what I say is objectively correct. But in my opinion, if you want to do the prestige event, if you're trying to pull Zacian just for the prestige event, I would advise against it. I would not suggest for pulling Zacian just for the prestige event, right? If you're pulling for Zacian, in my opinion, you should it should be because you want this unit. You want this unit either, you want a really great steel type, dual steel fairy striker, right? Or, if you really like Gloria as a trainer, or if you really like Zacian or whatever, or you want to get a good deal on a Pokefair banner, that's why I would pull for Zacian. I would not pull for Gloria if you're just trying to go for the prestige event, because and I know it's a bit hard to believe at the moment, and I'll talk about that in another video later today, right? You can reach, assuming the daily extra random bonus chance thing is not extremely rare. It's not like, almost impossible to get. Assuming that doesn't happen, if you're a free-to-play player, just using Thornton, Wickstrom, and Mullane, you can get all the point rewards. That's possible. That is possible. That is completely possible. That it's within the realm of possibilities. I did the calculations. Well, again, I'll do another video later today, detailing it. So if you don't believe me now, it's fine. You can just watch the video later, right? So if you are going for that, that's completely possible. Here's the other thing. The rewards are not worth it. Like, if you're thinking about, in terms of like, that's just talking about the tier ranking, or the point rewards, right? If you're trying to go after the prestige, the PvP rewards, those rewards are not worth it at all. The max reward, which is like the top 6,000, only gives you 6,000 gems, which is obviously a drop in the ocean in comparison to, on average, how much you could potentially spend on this banner trying to get Zacian. And I really don't think 1 out of 5 Zacian is going to get you to the top 6,000, right? The other thing people will talk about is the move candy, right? The move candy, being very valuable, does have a limit to its value, right? It's not like an infinitely valuable item, right? It's not an infinitely valuable item. It actually has a price at maximum, at the best value that move candy, 5-star move candy, could get you is 36,000 gems. And because move candy is basically a sync move power up, which is basically a dupe for any 5-star unit, right? And if you want to get any 5-star unit as a dupe, you go to scout points, and then you could get guaranteed get one. Obviously, that's only the maximum value. The value is even lower when you consider if you're spending the 36,000 gems on a banner, you very, very likely will get some other 4 stars and 5 stars in that process as well. So it's not even 36,000 gems in terms of value, right? So, like, the reward value, like, even if we just cut it down a bit, right? Let's just round it up at like 30,000 gems, which again is still not even like that much, right? And then like you add them together, it's not even like the total value is not even like 40,000, right? And so for anyone who is trying to spend gems getting Zacian just for the prestige event, unless you're incredibly lucky, you just go in one multi and then you get 5 Zacians in a multi, which again, the chance of that happening very, very low. More than likely, you will be losing. You will be losing gems. You will be losing value. It's going to be a net loss. You will be losing, right? So I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, this event is pay to win," and then when you actually do the math, you're actually paying to lose, right? And I know this is going to be controversial. I know no one's going to like to hear this, but if you don't spend any money on that event at all, you will be gaining more than the whales that just whale like thousands of dollars on the event. Because not only would whales have to like whale on 5 out of 5 Zacian, they'd have to still whale on like stamina and stuff, right? So if, again, all my point is being, if you're going for Zacian, go for it because either you love the character, you love this trainer, or if you really just need a solid steel type unit, or steel type striker on your team, do not whale this thing for the prestige event. The more you whale for it, the more you lose overall, right? Like, if you don't get those ranking rewards, you're actually the real winners are the ones who don't go for it, right? Unfortunately. So yeah, that's that, I guess, right? So again, like I mentioned before, it's definitely a good unit, right? But there are those two considerations that you have to keep in mind. The Steven thing, and also if you're again trying to go for this just for the prestige event alone, I would heavily suggest you not. And also do keep in mind, and potentially coming later this month, right? We also have the holiday units, holiday sync pairs, which are fun as well. I don't think the holiday sync pairs are as valuable as Zacian over here, right? Or as strong. I wouldn't say as valuable because the holiday sync pairs only come once a year, and Zacian probably is going to get rerun sometime later this year, once or twice, right? But yeah, that's basically my take on this one, right? Might be a big. This might be a bit controversial, right? But again, it's fine if you disagree, whatever, right? So, anyways, that's me with this one. I guess hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel for some more Pokemon Masters content. Again, I will be streaming the summons live later today, so that should be fun. Tune in for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.